Hi, everyone. My name is Connie Lampke, and I'm a volunteer with AARP Illinois. Welcome to our service project for vets, troops, and those you love. We have a great team of Illinois volunteers with us today. I'm going to stop. Does that show on your screen what I see?
What do you see?
I see. Hi, everyone. My name is Connie Lampke, and I'm a volunteer with AARP Illinois. Welcome to our service project for vets, troops, and those that you love. We have a great team of Illinois volunteers here with us today. I'd like to give a special shout out to Ellen Acevedo. She is the Illinois Volunteer Coordinator, better known as our fearless leader. We have Marie Dillon, who, like myself, volunteers for different things throughout the state of Illinois. And we're thrilled to have Mrs. Jacky back with us today to support you through this experience of fun and giving. And let me remind you, if you haven't been with us before, anyone can do this. If I can follow Mrs. Jacky's directions, trust me, everyone, you can too. So Mrs. Jacky is the coordinator of Mrs. Jacky's Soldiers, a volunteer group that's been packing and mailing care boxes to the military for almost 20 years now. She'll be leading us through today's projects, but you know what? She has such a heartwarming story that I'm going to let her tell her own introduction. Hi, Mrs. Jacky. Welcome, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for the great intro, Connie. My name is Mrs. Jacky Connelly, and I have the honor of mailing boxes to our soldiers overseas. My dad was a sergeant in the Army in World War II, and Mom mailed letters and packages to him every day and always stressed the importance of mail call. I was raised with how important it was to get that little note or that little piece of home for a little box. So in honor of my mom and dad, when I had the opportunity of a student of mine at the Park District where I was teaching top programs, her mom went over to Iraq in the first wave. We collected items, one thing led to another, and here we are, over 18 years later, still mailing boxes to our troops that are serving so far from home. And we need everybody's help to make some decorations to put into those boxes. So we're going to get right into it today. We're going to be making a banner that says Happy Halloween. Now, this is about as easy as it gets for a description of it without standing back and seeing a full one. But some of you will have a kit that actually has all the letters and a little jack-o'-lantern in the center. Others, if you want to make this, I would suggest you simply are going to print out each of these letters on an individual piece of paper and use a decorative picture for the center that you can draw yourself or you can print out. Now,
Mrs. Jacky, let me jump in for 1 minute. When this is over, for those who've registered, they're going to get a link, and the link, there will be a link in there where they could print out those letters.
That's wonderful. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. That will definitely help you then if you don't already have like a print shop program to do this with. You also can draw them yourself. You don't have to always use the printed ones either. But we'll go, that's a wonderful, I'm so glad we have that. I wasn't sure if we're going to have that available for everybody. You'll notice on this page, there's a very faint line that goes across the top. And in the instruction sheet that we do send out and in my instructions today, we ask that you don't draw above that line because that line is actually going to get folded back over the yarn to hang up the whole banner at the very end. So,
Mrs. Jacky, before you jump in again, how big is that white space approximately?
Let's see. I want to say it's about 2 inches, 3 inches. Let's see. One, two, about 2.5 inches.
Thank you.
Okay. What I did is if you took the bottom of the paper and you folded it up, it makes the whole bottom a square. So it's whatever's left over at the top. So this is 8.5, this would be 8.5, and there's your difference to the top of the page. You know, but again, if it's a little bit off, it's okay. The idea is to make the banners, doesn't matter, they don't need to be perfect, just do the best you can. But a lot of times when people start to make a little design, they want to draw a little pumpkin sitting on top of the H, they draw over. And then what happens is when we fold it over to put on the yarn, we've lost the beautiful decorations that everybody colored and drew. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that was, you know, informed first.
So Jackie, do you have any stories as to when these went out in the past, how people have used them? Like, do the vets decorate their rooms? What have you heard? What kind of feedback?
Mine have gone to the troops that are serving overseas, and they used them to decorate offices. They used them to decorate like their meeting places, their mess hall. They were used all over the base for all different kinds of to cheer them on for the holiday. You know, I said it was so nice because it's so personable, because it's being handmade by everybody. It's not just a little banner you purchase at the store. Not that they're not grateful to get those too, but it's just so nice to see that people cared enough to send these over there. And it was a nice reminder every time they looked up. And I do recommend highly, on the back of every single paper, you put your first name. Okay, if you're working as a family and you have little children working with you, put their age on, because then it definitely totally describes why sometimes it's written the way it is. We don't recommend last names for security purposes. And also when you go to put it on the back side, I recommend a colored pencil or a pen or just regular pencil. Sometimes people go to grab a marker and the marker is more permanent and it goes through to the front. If that happens, it's perfectly all right. We'll just add it as part of the design as we go along. Now, we're going to make this first one very, very easy. Okay, I'm just going to draw some scribbly little orange lines inside of the H. Okay, and then to dress it up just a little bit, I'm going to grab my green marker and I'm just going to draw some little scribbled circles inside there too. So we kind of have a jack-o'-lantern idea going. Now, this is pretty simple and pretty fast, but if you want to get really fancy, okay, you can add things to that page. Okay, and I've drawn an entire ghost. He's hanging out on the letter H. And I know it's kind of hard to tell because of the video, but I actually colored it in yellow from here down and across. Okay, and I did all my letters a little bit different. I've got a candy corn here with the white, yellow, and the orange. Made some candy on the sides of it. I colored in the backdrop, and I've got a little witch with a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern. So you can get as fancy as you want on these or keep them as simple in the Halloween colors. We've got our letter P, we've got our little black cat, we've got our bat and the moon, and my Y was, I just have the ones happy, but this might give you some ideas. Now, please note how I just drew some squiggly lines on the side here. Even if you just colored the whole letter in orange, and then you made these little squiggly lines, it just dresses up the whole little front of the page. Now, when you do your banner, again, you're going to want to have something in the middle of that banner to separate the happy and the Halloween. So in my case, I have a jack-o'-lantern. Now, once you have all your pages colored in, everybody's name on the back side that's done them, or if you've done them all, you're going to want to start going for that line. Okay, I fold it over and I kind of put my finger here just to make lining up. And then I just press it across. And now I've got my square ready. And then I usually line them all up on a table or in a pile so that they're all kind of in an order to be working with. Okay. Let me go for that H so I can show you how to put the yarn on. Now the yarn. What you want to do is you want to make sure the yarn is across the paper is 8.5 inches. So for your yarn, you want 9 inches per page, plus a couple extra pages worth of yarn to put at each end so we can string it up and tie it onto things when it gets to the other end. So we're going to take our yarn. Okay, we'll take that sample H we worked with.
So Mrs. Jacky, if we're doing 9 inches per sheet,
Right?
how many sheets are we working with for Happy Halloween and the middle?
I want to say that it's 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. Plus, so you want to say 17 times 9 inches. And you know what, if you just want to go by 10 inches and do extra yarn, it doesn't hurt to put extra yarn at each end of it. All right. The important part is to have the yarn at each end so the banner can actually be tied up. Now, what I think is also important when you're doing this, I don't usually put the glue or a glue stick. We can use a glue stick too. Let me pull the glue stick open. I usually put the glue at the very top of the page. So when I fold it over the yarn, you're not going to have it on the yarn. The glue's not going to go on the yarn. Okay. I'm putting the glue stick across the top of the page. I think you can see my purple glue on there. All right. Of course, this would be flat on a table. Okay. I'm pulling the yarn out because that's the first letter. I'm just flapping this over. If it's a little bit crooked or ripply on that, don't worry. And then you have your letter. And again, it kind of moves a little bit because you're only putting the glue on the very top of the page and then folding it over. Now, the important thing to remember is when
How to spell?
Pardon me?
How to spell?
That helps too, because it's sometimes their pages get out of order. But even more so than that is when you're doing them and you're laying them face down, in my case, and I glue across the top and I flip it over and I flip it over and I flip it over. I get in a hurry, I go to pick it up and it's backwards. So I've done it myself, and I had many banners made for the 4th of July, and out of like 30 banners, 3 of them came in backwards too. But luckily, because they glued them, we were able to slide the yarn out and then just put like a long little stick and like thread them all back on. But in the end, we have ourselves a nice little banner. Okay, and again, the letters kind of slide, and then I just sort of fan fold them up as I go along. And because you're doing 9 inches, but the top is only 8.5, you're able to fold over, fan folding back and forth your entire banner. I would recommend that you definitely let them air dry, or if you are using glue instead of the glue stick and it gets a little bit stickier, if you have a place to lay that out flat for the entire banner to be completely dry before you go fan folding it together so they don't stick, that would be great too. So I hope that helps you. And remember, we can go as simple or as fancy as you like.
Right, and I'm going to jump in there because the last time we did something like this, I had my grandkids helping me. My little 8-year-old had such a great time, but clearly it was an 8-year-old project. So he just signed his name on the back and put his age. And you know what? If you have a 3-year-old who wants to scribble, go for it. It's so important for our youngsters to learn the importance of community involvement and volunteering and doing things for others at a young age. So please, although Jacky's example was fantastically beautiful, I'm telling you that what she does, you can meet her at whatever level you're at. So don't be intimidated at all. These are easy to do. And as she said, you put as much or as little as you want into it. If you're artistic, go for it. If you're not, they're still going to be so grateful that you thought about them.
And if you are working with little ones, let me grab a, you can just give them crayons that are appropriate colors like purple, orange, and green, and just tell them, have a good time, and let them just color all over. And maybe you have stampers or stickers for Halloween, or even just happy face ones, and just let them have a good time. And if they see that beautiful colors, it's all over, and they put a couple little stickers on there, or let's say they finally are learning to print their name, and they can make a letter, and they just want to put a letter in the middle of it, go for it. And it's that personal touch that it's been made by the folks back home that took enough time to care. Very, very important.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank your relatives. They did a great job on that last project. I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to the ones they're making this time for me.
We had a very good time as a family participating. So thank you, Mrs. Jacky, for that. I'm going to take a little break here, and I'm going to ask Ellen to put up some of our resources that we have that I want to remind you about. AARP Illinois has a ton of great resources for you. We have overall health. There's a Facebook page, and there is a virtual events page. So any of these, if you just put in aarp.org in your search engine, all of these are going to come up. But the virtual events, there is so much going on, and it's not limited to only those things in Illinois. Because they're virtual, I've participated in things from Texas and Alabama and Florida. So don't limit that. There's something going on every day. You can exercise, you can dance, you can learn about computers, you can learn about brain health. There's so many important things that you don't even have to leave your house for. So please take advantage of those things. We also have many volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer from home. You can, when we eventually get back to in-person, you can help us with that. And if you want to do some advocacy work, we're always looking for people who are interested in what's going on at a state, local, and community level. None of our volunteer opportunities require experience. Just jump in and see, test the waters and see if there's something that might interest you. There are advocacy calls every Monday, and you can always listen in on those and see if that's something you might be interested in. I already told you about Ellen. She is the coordinator for Illinois, so she has listed her email address and phone number here for you. I will tell you that she will send you an email if you register for this program. If you're watching it on online somewhere, there should be a link to both her contact information and, as we talked about before, a template for the supplies that Jacky used. Or again, you can just make your own. But if you want it to look extra spoofy, then you can certainly print them out with the template.